Hey everyone, hope you're having a great day. So, food, sex, and money. How you relate to one of these things is going to mirror and affect the way you experience and your relationship with all of them, right? So, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. And today we're going to talk about how food and your relationship with food is affecting your sex life and affecting your relationship with money. So I know the word's kind of overused a little bit, but this is going to be juicy. This is going to be like a super, super juicy live. So I'm so excited for you guys to tune into this and to share this. If you're hopping on, please say hello. Let me know who's watching. Give me a little wave or a shout out. Actually, can I even see the comments right now? Okay. Somebody, if you could just write a little comment so I can make sure that it's working on my end. I want to make sure that you guys have a chance to, oh good, Paulina, thank you so much. Yeah, I want to make sure you guys have a chance, hi Laura, to ask questions and to chime in so that we can get this really moving. Hi Melly. And that way, if you guys have anything that's coming up as I'm speaking, I can address that and get this conversation just really moving and really juicy. So, yeah, food, right? Food is like this number one thing that we all need. We all, hi Erica, we all are completely like from the moment that we're born, this is the way that we're shown love. This is the way that we are nourished. This is the way that we like first experience pleasure. And when we have an interesting relationship with food, it obviously is going to affect other things in our life. Because, you know, when it really comes down to it, hi Mandy, when people have issues with food and struggles with losing weight or struggles with eating things that make them feel good and feeling super vibrant, there's always a deeper rooted cause, right? So this is the work I do, that I help to like dive deeply with women who are trying to lose weight or to feel like really healthy and vibrant in their bodies. And the reason I do this work is because this is where I came from, right? This is what I started with. I suffered from binge eating, disordered eating, body dysmorphia, and just like totally an unhealthy relationship with food for the majority of my life. And so learning how to navigate through that terrain and begin healing the deeper rooted causes of that struggle has opened up so many things to me and shown me that there's so much more that's going on there. And so when we are talking about the relationship between food and sex and food and money, they're actually so closely knit. And for those of you who have an interesting relationship with food, I wonder if you can just think for a moment and just allow yourself to like, you know, go into your mind, say what's going on there. Like, is there a tie between food and money, or a tie between food and sex, and not even sex, but experiencing pleasure, right? Experiencing deep connection. Is there a tie that you can just think of off the top of your head? And if you can, you know, and if you feel like sharing, please put it in the comments so that we can all just like share and support each other and dive like really deeply on this topic, because there's so much to be uncovered here. So let's first start with the relationship between food and sex. Food is not only a way for us to nourish ourselves, but it's a way that we can experience pleasure throughout the day, right? All day long if we choose to. But so often we have this very unhealthy relationship with food that has this underlying guilt, this guilt to experiencing pleasure, and this guilt for oftentimes, you know, experiencing like, oh, I ate this delicious ice cream, but I know I shouldn't have. You know, I ruined my workout, or I cheated on my diet. I feel so bloated now. I don't feel well, right? And we start to get this guilt for experiencing that pleasure. And so this tie begins to happen between guilt and pleasure. And we feel that there's a relationship, and there's like an actual reflection of, in order to feel pleasure, we also have to feel guilt to go along with that. And so this is something that is huge when we're talking about our relationship with food and healing our relationship with food, because if we don't allow ourselves to actually enjoy the food that we're eating while we're eating it, this is us like literally numbing ourselves to experiencing pleasure in like the fullest form that we're able to, right? Joni says, I spend so much money on food. Ooh, interesting. Let's dive into that a little bit later too. Like the relationship in even like feeling guilt on investing in ourselves, in our like well-being, right? And in like experiences, like going out to eat. You know, I think a lot of people get really caught up in like, oh, I need to like save money and eat at home. And even that is putting a block in experiencing pleasure and experiencing what that could be like to go out and have that kind of, oh, okay. So Joni says like fast food, junk food, emotional eating. Okay. Yeah, definitely. So, so let's dive a little bit deeper into that relationship with food and sex and food and pleasure, and us not putting up that barrier of guilt in between feeling pleasure. And so when we notice, and I want you guys to even think about it, like, are there certain foods that you eat that you feel guilty about eating, that you feel like you shouldn't be eating? And maybe there are foods that taste really good and that you really love, but you feel like you shouldn't. You shouldn't have it. And if you do, you feel super guilty. Hi, Alyssa. Actually, girl, you inspired part of this live, so I'm glad you're watching. And so when we kind of create that relationship of feeling guilty, of experiencing that pleasure, right? On one hand, we're like, oh, I want this, I want to eat this, I want to enjoy it, but I feel bad about it after. What that ends up doing is creating this like block and this numbing, so we don't fully enjoy it while we have it. So let me like give you a very clear example so you can think of this. You know, if you order a pizza, let's say, pizza is always the one I'm going to talk about because I love pizza. But let's say you order a pizza and you're, you know, eating this pizza and all of a sudden you're like, it's gone. Like, where did it go? I was so excited to eat this. I know it tasted good, but like I didn't fully experience it. And that super rushed kind of feeling is this combination of you know, you like the food, right? You're excited to eat it, but then you eat it so quickly you don't even get to savor it. You don't even get to enjoy it. And this is actually putting up this block from you being able to fully experience pleasure. And you're putting it there because there's a part of you that feels guilty for experiencing that pleasure in the first place. And this is something that is directly related not only to sex, but also to money. If you think about it, I'm just gonna have a sip of water. If we feel like we have any of this like underlying guilt for receiving money, receiving pleasure, receiving love, then even when we do receive those things, we're going to be kind of numbing it out. We're not going to allow ourselves to fully tune in and to fully experience that. And so if you're not fully experiencing those things, whether that be money or, you know, receiving abundance, receiving love, receiving pleasure, you know, even while you're making love, while you're in the bedroom, if you're feeling like you're not fully experiencing that pleasure, I wonder if there's an underlying little like ounce or maybe a lot of guilt to experiencing pleasure. And it might not be guilt to experiencing to experiencing that specific pleasure that you're experiencing in the moment. But this is why it's so important to clean up all of these areas in our lives, especially our relationship with food. Because if we aren't able to experience the pleasure that comes from something that's so necessary for us to have, so necessary for our survival and for for our nourishment and just to live, right? Food is something that is both necessary and something to be enjoyed, something to really love and have fun with, right? And if we can't even feel that there, then, tune into that and see, like, do you really even enjoy your food? The things that you love, are you savoring them, right? And so, like, this is something I see a lot with clients. They say, like, oh, but I know I should give up this food, but I love it so much. And by the way, my philosophy is that, like, you can eat anything that you want depending on how you eat it. And it's more about the mindset behind it. But so many of us have this idea, not only our own thoughts and beliefs, but kind of like the conscious collective agreement on what foods are healthy and unhealthy, which also gets like really muddled because it's always changing, where we're like hearing one day that this food is really good and prevents cancer, and then the next day it actually causes cancer, and then the next day, like, it's, not even nutrient dense anymore. Anyways, things are so muddied in like in our own consciousness about what we know to be healthy and to be unhealthy, that even if it's not our own belief, it's something that like sits in us. And if we feel guilty about eating something that deep down we believe is not good for us, and then we're not going to be able to enjoy it. And so when these women come to me and they say, like, I love this food so much, but, like, I know I shouldn't have it. And I don't think it's about not having unhealthy foods. Can you see my quotes? Unhealthy. I think it's really more about, are you tuning in when you're eating that food? Think about the last time you ate something that you loved. Did you like make love to that food? Did you feel like you were like seduced by that food? Or did you just like have a quickie and then like put your clothes on and leave? You know what I mean? Did you like have like this gorgeous love affair with the food and actually enjoy it and actually experience that pleasure? Or did you just, same thing like with money, did you just like get it and then spend it all? Did you actually appreciate it while it was there? Because if you can't appreciate it while it's there, while you're experiencing it, if you can't find pleasure in something as simple and as necessary as food, why do you think that you're going to be able to experience pleasure in other areas of your life, right? You're going to take those things for granted as well. So the number one thing for us to kind of like notice with this, like, how can you relate this to actually when you're eating, right? Is to almost like get yourself turned on by your food. I know it sounds kind of silly, but this is so true. Hold on, let me check on these comments a little bit. I got lost. Joni says, yes. Alyssa says, numbness. I've had that happen. Ida lives this. Both maybe. Joni says, thanks for this input. Eating in fear, but for real. Joni says, this is so me, girl. The universe knew I needed this. Yes, this is for you. So let's talk about what this actually practically looks like, right? Because we kind of get the idea, right? If you can't experience full pleasure in every single area of your life, especially in something so critical and so like necessary and so frequent as eating, then you're gonna miss out in other areas as well. This, for me, I really believe that your relationship with food is a mirror and a reflection of everything else in your life. And this is where I do like my deep healing with my clients is healing their relationship with food and with their bodies, because that reflects into every other area, into their romantic relationships, into sex, into money, into their business, into every other thing that they do, right? And so how do we start to actually change this and start to tune in? And it's about like having this love affair with food. And it can be something as simple as just starting with getting ahead of myself, but starting with becoming aware of what your relationship with food is like now. Not just are you eating healthy and unhealthy, not just, how much are you eating? Are you trying to lose weight? Are you happy with your weight? Not those things, but how do you actually really like appreciate food? Are you grateful for food? Like on a deep level, not just like, yeah, I'm happy I can eat. Like I'm excited when I eat my favorite foods, but are you really showing that like gratitude and appreciation every single time that you eat and for everything that you get to eat, not just when it's chocolate cake day, but every meal that you have. Because if you can't appreciate like the little things and the mundane things and these things that just become habits for us and just become like us, unconsciously stuffing our faces, if that's how you're starting to move through your every single day and every single moment, then that's going to reflect in the way that you get down in the bedroom or the way that you make money in your business or in your life or whatever it is for you, right? So it's about us slowing it down so that we can take it in, so that we can fully experience this pleasure that is, food. I mean, food is awesome, you guys. Food is so fun. And it's become, I know that it has become such a source of guilt and shame for so many people. And, myself included, that's how I lived for so long. It's heartbreaking because this is really something that is meant for us, meant to not only nourish us and sustain us and give us energy, but to allow us to enjoy pleasure and to experience security that it brings us, right? That's the other element. Oh, I almost forgot about this. That's the other element that I wanted to talk about is that security that it helps us to feel, because we are in control of nourishing ourselves and keeping ourselves safe in that way by nourishing ourselves appropriately and in a way that we are really thankful for that security and thankful for that ability to just be able to eat. And that security, is also reflected in how you feel when you have the security of money or the security of a lover and somebody who's there for you, right? If you don't appreciate that security in that little moment and you don't even feel secure when you have it, then how are you going to experience these other levels of security, right? So let's create this space to begin shifting our awareness around food, begin shifting our relationship to it. And, I would love to hear from you guys. Like, what are you guys doing to tune into your food and to use it as a pleasurable experience? Right? For me, it's all about really getting your senses involved. So it's not just a one-sided thing. It's not just throw it in your mouth, taste it, and it goes down, right? Like we have these other amazing senses that allow us to experience pleasure in so many different ways. So looking at the food, right? Just first using your eyes and really seeing, what does it look like? What are the colors? What are the textures? Smelling it, allowing yourself to just close your eyes and smell it and take in the aroma, and then even seeing what sound does it make? Does it make a sound when you cut it, or when you put it on your fork, or when you pick it up? And just allowing yourself to see, if you're touching it, does it have a texture? What does it feel like, right? What does it feel like when you put it in your mouth? What is the tastes? I mean, really, have you been tasting your food? I know it sounds silly and kind of obvious, but have you been really tasting your food? Allowing it to just melt onto your tongue and fully take over your mouth. I mean, this should be almost an arousing experience if you're really eating mindfully and really doing it right? So, Rochelle says, I finally planted a garden. It feels so good to be involved in growing my own food. Oh my God. Yes. I mean, that experience alone, to be able to kind of be with the food through the whole cycle and experience you putting your work and your love into growing it is amazing. But even if we're not in a position where we can grow our own food, we can have a love and appreciation for the people that did, and kind of allow ourselves to create that space before we eat to just really be grateful. It kind of comes down to like, I grew up in a very like conservative Christian family, and they always like prayed before we ate, and I was always kind of like, why are we doing this? But now I see a lot of benefit in that, and there's a lot of cultures and religions that do that. But if you can come up with your own like real blessing to bless your food and become grateful for your food, it doesn't have to be a prayer, it doesn't have to be anything attached to anything other than your own gratitude and your own love and appreciation, and for you to tune into this pleasure that you're going to experience. So if you guys have any questions about this, let me know. I would love to hear what you guys are doing, how you guys are relating to food, and if you guys are seeing that link between food and experiencing pleasure, and food and money, right? Let's see. Alyssa says, I feel something, a lot of food now is as vibrant as it used to be, which makes people forget how to truly taste. Yes, okay, I know what you mean. So because of the way that our food has been processed, and I know it has definitely changed, right? We're not getting the same quality of food that we used to. But luckily, we are so powerful, and our thoughts are so powerful, and our energy is so powerful that just by being grateful for your food and infusing it with that loving energy and allowing yourself to experience full pleasure when you're eating it is gonna raise the vibration of the food, right? So think about that, the next time that you're eating, what can you do to change that relationship with food so much that it trickles out into the other areas of your life. All right. I hope you guys have a beautiful day. Let me know if you have any questions. You can reach out to me, send me a message. Any of that is awesome. And yeah, go experience some pleasure in one way or another.